In communism, there were some special prisons which were laboratories, so to call them, laboratories in which they believe that they can create a communist personality. And they used all the methods. For example, hospital for mental diseases. They came with psychiatrists. Doctors were very important. Communist doctors experimented in Russia. They came to give you special drugs and to say, okay, you are crazy because you are not communist, or you are crazy because you believe in God, or look at you.
What were they trying to accomplish at Pitești?
You know, there are 2 points of view. One is the political intention, and the other one is this eternal fight between good and evil. So, because we are young people, we had some principles, we are very, very faithful, and the spiritual opposition perhaps is more important than the material opposition. The evil part, they knew exactly where to hit. And so they tried to destroy our soul, to destroy our connection, our trust to one another. And they succeed to do individual from each of us, not a person, an individual. By torture, by isolation, by killing us, by by pressure, until we felt that we were losing our mind. Many of us died. Many of us became mad. But in some of us, the good triumphed.
The prisoners of Pitești endured sleepless nights, beatings, starvation, psychological torture, and profanities against their Orthodox Christian beliefs.
Spațiul carceral cel mai cumplit și fără discuție că a fost Piteștiul, camera 1 subsol la Pitești, în care am stat 6 luni de zile sub teroare. Am stat 1 an de zile în camera asta, dar 6 luni numai sub teroare. Pentru că în afară de bătăile acestea, mai erau cu totul altceva, doamnă, erau eforturile la care eram supuși. Eforturile erau extraordinare. În ce constau aceste eforturi? Trebuia să facem manejul pe jos, în 4 labe și să înconjurăm spațiul dintre priciuri. Cât o oră, 2, 3, 4, până când cădeai jos. Și când cădeai jos, torționarii stăteau, colegii noștri, de fapt, stăteau în jurul nostru cu ciomezile și stăteau cu piciorul sau cu ciomagul să mergi mai departe. Și acest manej simplu a fost mai ușor de suportat, dar a fost altceva, a fost manejul dublu sau cu sarcină. Adică trebuia să porți în spate pe unul, tot așa, 1, 2, 3, 4 ore, asta nu mai conta. Sau deci un efort extraordinar. Sau somnul nu era supravegheat, trebuia să dormi într-o anumită poziție. Ori această poziție, în general, în timpul somnului,
nu se poți controla.
Un grup muscular, așa, care îți menține poziția, la un moment dat obosesc, pentru că sunt niște fenomene fiziologice. Și obligatoriu în timpul somnului, fiecare om la 5 minute, 20 de minute trebuie să-și schimbe poziția, ca să intre alt grup de musculi în funcție ca să-ți mențină poziția. Ori noi nu aveam voie să facem nici acest lucru. Sau bătăile la tălpi, erau teribile. Pentru că te puneau pe prici și te băteau, ți făceau cu rândul până când se rupea ciomagul acela. Sau altceva, culcări. Eu am făcut 1000 de culcări. Au stat lângă mine și 1000 de culcări. Și eram 3. Eu eram cel mai mic, erau al doilea și al treilea lângă mine. Culcările trebuia să le faci de sus, să te dai drumul jos, nu pe mâini. De sus să te dai pe ciment. Al doilea peste mine, al treilea peste mine. După ce făceam 100, treceam și schimbam. Am făcut 1000 de culcări. Și după ce am făcut 1000 de culcări, m-au întins pe prici și m-au bătut 3 inși până când s-au obosit ei.
Because many of the prisoners were of the Orthodox faith, they were forced to reenact the liturgy. Profanities replaced liturgical words, and human feces were substituted for Holy Communion. But perhaps the worst tortures of Pitești were the betrayal of friends. After months of severe punishment, Romanian prisoners were promised freedom if they would help to re-educate a fresh group of younger inmates. Romanians were now torturing Romanians.
On 6th of December started everything with a shock. With a shock, this was a physical torture, that we were under the bed all within 5 minutes, full of blood and everything. But that is nothing. That is bearable. I knew that spring came, and Easter came, and Palm Sunday and everything, for what they were doing there. They took the prisoners, and they played some plays, so to say, liturgically, because all of them were Orthodox. And this was not done by the official officers of the prison. They put the students to torture each other, because that was the method.
They turned them against each other?
They took one group who disappeared for half a year, and they came completely brainwashed, and they said, we don't want to die in prison. They promised to them, if you do this, you will be liberated. That was a lie, because nobody was liberated. And they put them to torture their own colleagues in prisons.
You mentioned that part of this was trying to steal the soul, or part of it was trying to turn your friends against one another.
Yes.
Was this through physical torture or more of mental things?
They started always by physical torture.
They started with physical torture?
Yeah, absolutely. So they succeeded to terrorize us, to frighten us. And afterwards they start with moral pressure, but always they accompanied the moral pressure with physical pressure. We were obliged to denounce everything.
And there was a position, a special physical position, in which you remember everything. This was the position. 6 months I was there.
You would just have to sit there?
Exactly. What was the strength, their point? To keep yourself at the limit between normal and abnormal. And nobody can stay here, you know.
How does one live in such terror and fear and not literally go insane?
Many became insane. Many committed suicide. Many died because of tortures. But when this torture stopped, we started to recover little by little. We need years to recover, you know. Today, driving the car, if a policeman stopped me, I felt all the terror rebirthed in me, in myself, you know. Somewhere in my side, very deeply, this terror still exists.
In the spring of 2001, Sorin Ferraru was an art student in his hometown of Pitești, Romania. He was commissioned by survivors of the Pitești prison to create paintings depicting the torture experience. His first encounter with the prisoners was beyond his imagination.
They were very anxious to tell me the story, and I was like, wow, what is this about? I couldn't believe it, you know, that happened. You know, I used to pass that place every day going to school. I never knew what was there, you know. And remember, yeah, we spent a couple of hours listening to the story. It was unbelievable. At least for a young guy like me, it was like told from a movie.
What was your vision for creating these paintings?
I wanted to create something different. I mean, because this is what they told me. You know, we want something that will get as close as possible to what happened there.
What were their impressions when they saw these paintings?
Oh yeah, that was very interesting. I remember I had these gentlemen, I think they were 6 or 7, that came to my parents' house, because I did this at my parents' house, and they walked in. I invited them in the studio, and for a couple of minutes nobody said anything. I was scared. I was like, oh my God, they don't like it. Something's wrong. You know, it's not what it's supposed to be. It's, you know. And then they started talking. He says, this is what happened. My God, it's unbelievable. You know, and I hope I'm not mistaken, but one of the gentlemen started crying. You know. And it was amazing. I was very happy because I got at least close to what they were thinking.